Archaeologists in Egypt have announced the discovery of 59 wooden coffins buried more than 2,500 years ago.
Beneath the golden sands of Egypt, something has been unearthed. Something that defies logic, rattles historians, and leaves even seasoned scientists unnerved. From silent chambers inside ancient pyramids to twisted expressions frozen in time, these aren't just relics, they're riddles. A forgotten queen, golden tongues, and a pit filled with something disturbingly human are just a few of the 15 shocking discoveries that have recently emerged. What secrets have Egypt's tombs been keeping for thousands of years? And why do some experts now hesitate to dig deeper? The tomb of the unknown queen? In one of Saqqara's most extraordinary recent finds, archaeologists uncovered the tomb of a previously unknown Egyptian queen named Neith, a discovery that has stunned historians and challenged established royal lineages. Unearthed near the pyramid of King Teti, the tomb was part of a vast necropolis filled with over 300 elaborately decorated coffins, many containing high-ranking officials, priests, and scribes from Egypt's New Kingdom period. Among them, Neith's burial stood out not only because of its opulence, but because her name had never appeared in any known records until this discovery. Her existence had seemingly been erased from historical memory until now. Neith's sarcophagus was covered with gold and surrounded by a multitude of its own unique artifacts, from rare funerary statues and amulets to even the metal weaponry of a mummified guard, an unusual feature in Egyptian tombs. These lavish burial goods, combined with hieroglyphic inscriptions and funerary texts referencing Neith's name and titles, confirmed her royal status. Some scholars speculate that she was possibly a consort or close relative of Teti, or perhaps a powerful queen in her own right. Her association with the goddess Neith, deity of war and creation, implies some sort of symbolic or theological importance, inciting questions about her political influence and possible role in religious reforms as the late Old Kingdom transited into the early New Kingdom. The fact of the tomb of Queen Neith has undoubtedly amplified the comprehension of female power in ancient Egypt. It has also demonstrated how many more royal females might remain without a name or under the sand. The burial among so many elite coffins inside such a richly appointed necropolis indicates that efforts were being made to preserve her legacy privately, even if the public or temple records are silent. Her emergence, after thousands of years, does not just remain an archaeological revelation. It serves as a reminder of how much older Egypt still holds in secret. Even as researchers continue to study the tomb, officially, Neith may turn out to be a key figure in rewriting Egypt's narrative of royal past. Think this lost queen was buried in mystery? Just wait until you see what's buried beneath your feet next. The labyrinth of Hwara. Beneath the sands of Hwara, approximately 60 miles south of Cairo, lies one of Egypt's most mysterious and underexplored structures, the labyrinth of Hwara, a vast underground complex believed to sit beneath the Black Pyramid of Pharaoh Amenemhat, the third of the 12th dynasty. Ancient sources, especially the Greek historian Herodotus, describe the labyrinth as a structure even more impressive than the pyramids themselves, claiming it contained over 3,000 rooms, halls, and passageways. For centuries, these accounts were dismissed as exaggeration, until modern archaeological surveys in 2008, using ground-penetrating radar, confirmed the presence of a massive subterranean layout matching ancient descriptions. The labyrinth had several purposes: to serve as a royal mortuary complex, a ceremonial sanctuary, and also possibly a holy center associated with the god Osiris, sovereign of the underworld. Among the chambers would probably be those appropriated for the king and his wives, while others may have been destined for religious or administrative purposes. Excavations have uncovered complete sarcophagi, canopic jars, alabaster vessels, and even a perfume jar that serves all these resurrection myths and funeral rites. These data suggest that the labyrinth was not confined to burial, but was, in fact, a very well-crafted spiritual space meant for the exercise and reflection of the soul during its odyssey through the afterlife. Except for those remarkable revelations, much of the underground labyrinth remains unexplored and sealed under layers of stone, soil, and time. Full length and purpose of this structure are still uncertain, with large parts being submerged due to high groundwater levels. Some scholars theorize that the deeper chambers may have been associated with the ancient cult of Osiris, or symbolically linked as portals to the afterlife. An architectural puzzle, and one of Egypt's greatest concealed wonders, the Labyrinth of Hwara, continues to excite historians and explorers alike, since its full revelation could redefine our understanding of many aspects, from religious beliefs to engineering practices developed during the Middle Kingdom. The Secret Chamber. In 2023, a groundbreaking revelation emerged from the Scan Pyramids project, a multidisciplinary team using advanced technology to explore Egypt's ancient structures. Using muon tomography, a cutting-edge technique that tracks cosmic particles to detect empty spaces within dense materials, researchers identified a previously unknown corridor hidden behind the north face of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Measuring approximately 9 meters, about 30 feet, in length and 2 meters, around 6.5 feet, in height, the corridor lies above the original entrance and had gone completely undetected for over 4,500 years. The team utilized a minuscule endoscopic camera to grant themselves visual access through a hairline crack between stones, revealing an immaculate, empty void hewn with the utmost precision. This shocked scientists more than anything. The corridor was devoid of any signs of human disturbance, untracked by footprints, tools, or artifacts, indicating it may never have been accessed since its construction. The chamber is not aligned with any known burial rooms, thus fueling speculation about its purpose. Some experts think it could be a structural feature, meant perhaps as some kind of relieving space to take the weight of the pyramid off the deeper chambers. Others suspect it may be the way out of another room, one that might possibly be of ritual or royal significance, which has so far remained undiscovered. The Great Pyramid, created for Pharaoh Khufu, has long been thought to be the most studied ancient monument in the world. But this discovery is evidence that the structure still has secrets to share. The corridor's eerie silence and deliberate dormancy have led some to propose that it somehow had spiritual or symbolic significance, perhaps even in relation to ancient Egyptian beliefs about death and the afterlife. Though its exact function remains conjectural, this void adds another variable to the equation of our understanding of ancient engineering and religious architecture. The finding is a reminder that even iconic structures can surprise us, asserting that Khufu's pyramid is more than just a tomb, being a monument layered with mystery, precision, and, above all, purpose. The Rosetta Stone, discovered in 1799 by French soldiers near the town of Rosetta, modern-day Rashid, during Napoleon's campaign in Egypt, the Rosetta Stone became the key to unlocking the long-lost language of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. The black granodiorite slab, standing about 4 feet tall, bears a trilingual inscription of the same decree in ancient Greek, Demotic, and hieroglyphic script. The decree, issued in 196, before Common Era by priests affirming the rule of Ptolemy V, was a political message, but its repetition in 3 scripts offered modern scholars a rare linguistic bridge between known and unknown writing systems. Referencing the Greek text, scholars such as Thomas Young and Jean-François Champollion could decipher Egyptian hieroglyphs in the early 19th century. The discovery by Champollion in 1822 that the Egyptian hieroglyphs included non-symbolic phonetics transformed Egyptology. Inscribing the temples, tombs, and accounts of faith opened up a previously silent world of knowledge replete with millennia of information. Without the Rosetta Stone, much of modern knowledge about ancient Egyptian religion, governance, and society would certainly remain inaccessible. Today, the Rosetta Stone remains housed in the British Museum, which is home to one of the most visited and culturally significant artifacts. However, its continued presence there is the source of ongoing international debate. Egyptian officials, including former Antiquities Minister Zahi Hawass, have repeatedly called for its return, contending that it was taken under colonial circumstances after the British defeat of French forces in Egypt. For Egyptians, the Rosetta Stone is a relic representing their scholarly pursuits, a symbol of national heritage and identity. The debate surrounding ownership implicates larger questions concerning the restitution of cultural artifacts previously taken during the time of imperial rule, thus making the stone not merely a key to the past, but a lightning rod for present concerns. The golden-tongued mummies. In a series of remarkable discoveries at sites like Kesna, Alexandria, and Oxyrhynchus, archaeologists have uncovered dozens of golden-tongued mummies, bodies buried with thin gold foil in place of their natural tongues. These finds, dating primarily to the Greco-Roman period in Egypt, reflect a chilling and deeply spiritual funerary ritual. The ancient Egyptians believed that the deceased would need to speak to the gods, especially Osiris, the ruler of the underworld. If a person's real tongue had decayed, they risked eternal silence. The solution? Replace it with gold, a metal viewed as divine and incorruptible. One of the most well-preserved discoveries took place at Kesna, where archaeologists discovered a tomb containing not one, but 3 mummies with golden tongues. These were all placed in sealed limestone sarcophagi, alongside gilded masks, amulets, and religious symbols. All of this undisturbed since burial. In some cases, the embalmers may actually have taken out the real tongues at the time of mummification to make place for the golden substitutes, showing that this was an act and a sacred ritual rather than just a symbolic addition at a later date. Such care and attention with which these things were housed show the Egyptians' weighty fear of a voiceless afterlife and their effort to prepare the soul for divine judgment well in advance. The golden funerary mouths give a distinctive glimpse into ancient Egyptian belief and also ask interesting questions about crossover in the Greco-Roman period. Though there was Hellenistic influence, the fundamentals of Osiris and the afterlife persisted. It shows how ancient spiritual fears almost always the most dramatic. The fear of eternal silencing shaped complex, intimate funerary practices. Each of these gilded tongues, similar to a ghostly echo from the past, serves as a final plea to have the soul heard beyond the grave. The Lost Golden City. In 2020, archaeologists made one of the most significant finds in recent Egyptian history: the unearthing of a 4,000-year-old city near Luxor, now known as the Lost Golden City, or Aten. Located on the west bank of the Nile, this ancient urban center dates back to the reign of Amenhotep III, one of the most powerful pharaohs of the 18th dynasty. Within weeks of excavation, researchers began uncovering entire neighborhoods, complete with zigzagging streets, mud brick walls, and inscriptions linking buildings to royal kitchens, administrative centers, and workshops. The level of preservation was astounding, with evidence of daily life frozen in time, including clay vessels stamped with seals, scarab amulets, and even a pot containing boiled meat labeled with the date and place of preparation. It has a mystery in storing when it was suddenly abandoned, and in the present state of preservation sets apart the Lost Golden City from the other constructions. The majority of Egyptologists hold the view that during the rule of Akhenaten, son of Amenhotep III, the city was cleared out rather suddenly, as he instituted a bold religious transformation from worshipping many gods to a single sun deity called Aten. This upheaval in civilization was the uprooting of all the religious establishments from the present capital and relocating them to a new capital, Amarna, leaving behind the city of Aten, even among those that were once bustling, almost overnight. And this was recorded in most historical textual sources. The city that actually had a lot of size and importance was unattainable. Rediscovering it became the most critical moment in reconstructing the political and cultural turbulence of that era. The excavations are certainly going to be a very significant recovery for Egyptology and archaeology in general, for it is said to be comparable with discoveries made in the past, such as that of King Tutankhamun's tomb, not only through the vastness of the find, but also by what it reveals into the urban life of ancient Egyptians. Cities are not temples, and they are not tombs, which were built to endure, and cities were often either reused or destroyed, which is rare for one to find a site so remarkably preserved. The lost Golden City straddles the worlds of Amenhotep III and Akhenaten, whose opposing ideologies defined a pivotal moment in Egyptian history. Its preservation makes it possible to study domestic, economic, and social structures of the 18th dynasty in incredible detail, perhaps even rewriting what we know about Egypt's most iconic period. Kafras Diarite statue. One of the most striking and enigmatic artifacts of ancient Egypt is the diorite statue of Pharaoh Khafra, the builder of the second pyramid at Giza and the likely mind behind the Great Sphinx. This remarkably lifelike statue was discovered in the 1860s by archaeologist Auguste Mariette, buried beneath the floor of Khafra's Valley Temple near the pyramid complex. Carved from anorthosite gneiss, a rare and extremely hard stone often confused with diorite, the statue showcases the pharaoh seated on a throne, exuding power and serenity. Despite being over 4,500 years old, its polished finish and detailed craftsmanship remain almost untouched by time. Symbolism and artistic features in the statue enhance its aura of intrigue. Horus, depicted as a falcon and as a god of kingship and of the sky, is shown in a protective posture, with vast wings hovering over Khafra's head, fortifying the claim that Khafra was divinely chosen to rule. The throne is ornamented with intertwined lotus and papyrus, signifying the unity of Upper and Lower Egypt. The positioning of Khafra's right hand, which is held in a fist, whereas the left hangs relaxed, has baffled scholars for many decades in the debate whether this is a statement on divine kingship versus human reign, or whether it goes much deeper into realms of spiritual dualism. Idealized realism infused with divine iconography gives the aura of the statue, which watches as the pharaoh is felt to be present yet unreachable. Many viewers today feel a disquieting sensation, as if the pharaoh is staring them down through the centuries. The statue's presence is much more than merely artistic. The aura is often described as somehow otherworldly. And then there is the fact that it was deliberately placed beneath the temple, far from any prying eyes, for thousands of years. Some believe it was hidden away as a reserve for the statue of one whose Ka, or life force, would dwell with him in the afterlife. Whether viewed as a masterpiece of dynastic propaganda or as a vessel of spiritual continuity, the diorite statue of Khafra remains one of the most haunting and powerful representations of divine kingship in all of Egypt. Still catching your breath from Khafra? You'll need it for what's coming next. The Paparus Scroll of Amos. In 2022, archaeologists working near the step pyramid of Djoser in Saqqara made a rare and extraordinary discovery inside a tomb, an intact 52-foot-long papyrus scroll. identified as a personalized Book of the Dead. Buried alongside a man named Amos, the scroll is remarkably complete and impeccably preserved, making it the first such papyrus of its length and condition found in the region in over a century. Dating back to around 300. Before Common Era, the scroll was placed directly beside Amos's body within his coffin, signifying its importance as a spiritual roadmap for navigating the treacherous journey through the Egyptian afterlife. There are 113 chapters assumed to be in hieratic script, a cursive form of hieroglyphs arranged in 150 columns written in black and red ink. These include a variety of spells, incantations, rituals, and invocations intended to assist the soul in traveling through the underworld and, ultimately, in overcoming obstacles, judgment, and persecution by demons. The name Amos appears in the text over 260 times, thus ensuring the ownership of the scroll by his soul, indicating that personal identification was, in any case, paramount for the effectiveness of the spell. The vivid illustrations remain a different glory. Gods like Osiris, scenes of trial and weighing of the heart, all drawn with extraordinary precision and artistic finesse. This scroll is significant not only because of its extreme length and fine state, but also because of its religious and cultural importance. So many of the surviving Books of the Dead are fragmentary, but Amos's version was preserved sufficiently for nearly complete translation into Arabic, making it available above all to scholars and the public. It adds deep insights into the religious practices that Ptolemy's time expected, beliefs in the afterlife, and the individual imparting of funerary texts. More than just an object, the papyrus scroll of Amos stands as one powerful testimony to the ancient Egyptians' preparations for death, not merely to rest, but never to really repose, to speak and then be born a second time among the divine. Colossal statue of Ramses II. In 2017, archaeologists made a stunning discovery in the Mataria district of Cairo, a working-class neighborhood that sits atop the ancient city of Heliopolis, one of Egypt's oldest and most sacred sites. Buried beneath the mud and debris of modern urban sprawl, they uncovered the shattered remains of a colossal statue, later identified as Ramses II, also known as Ramses the Great. Carved from quartzite, the statue originally stood over 26 feet tall, and although found in multiple fragments, including a massive torso and a detached head, it retains an overwhelming aura of power and grandeur. Ramses II, the great pharaoh of Egypt's 19th dynasty, gained notoriety as one of the strongest embodiments of his kind, although this statue bears witness to that legacy. Even in a ruined state, the monumental artifact stands in authority through its wide chest, powerful jaws, and regal mannerism. There are no inscriptions on the statue. However, its location close to Heliopolis's famous Sun Temple and the discovery of a statue of Ramses's grandson, Seti II, have helped seal the identification. It is supposed that during subsequent eras, presumably the Greco-Roman period, the monument was thrown and interred, while many temples of this ancient time were dismantled or made unusable. This discovery drew particular fascination because of its finding place. Shrouded under the many, again under modern urban life, all that has relocated a statue has taken time from the rediscovery of life above ancient monuments to highlight archaeology. This indicates how Heliopolis had a cultural and historical importance as a kingly city for the worship of the sun god. Even in ruins, the great statue of Ramses II towers in its symbolism of divine kingship and architectural ambition. Its rising from the ground serves as a reminder of how the greatest rulers of Egypt cast long shadows today over the past and present. The 40 Mummies in the Desert. In 2019, archaeologists excavating Tuna al-Gebel in Egypt's Minya Governorate uncovered a rock-cut tomb containing 40 well-preserved mummies, offering rare insight into the middle-class burial practices of the Ptolemaic period, circa 300 before Common Era. The tomb, hidden 9 meters underground, was divided into 4 chambers holding 22 adults, 12 children, and 6 animals, likely a multi-generational family burial. Unlike opulent royal tombs, this site was modest yet carefully organized and sealed, revealing that even non-royal Egyptians were deeply invested in preparing for the afterlife. They were mummies encased in fine linen placed inside wooden coffins or clay sarcophagi, together with amulets, pottery, and demotic inscriptions to highlight their spiritual importance or social significance. The mummified remains of animals, perhaps pets or ritual sacrifices, were also thought to have a personal level of involvement and a religious dimension. Intentionally hiding the tomb indicates a safeguard against thieves or a transitioning ritual toward more private graves. Such findings highlight how middle-class families borrowed some elite funerary practices, indicating that ancient Egyptians' beliefs about death, legacy, and the afterlife were indeed shared far beyond the royal elite. The 59 Sealed Sarcophagi. In the fall of 2020, Egyptian archaeologists discovered 59 sealed sarcophagi in a 36-foot deep shaft at Saqqara, just south of Cairo. Remarkably untouched for over 2,500 years, these coffins had been missed by previous excavations despite the site's prominence. Belonging to priests, scribes, and officials from Egypt's late period, 664 to 525 before Common Era, the sarcophagi were stacked in layers and accompanied by statues, amulets, and figurines of protective deities like Ptah Sukar and Taweret. Their elite status and religious roles were evident from the elaborate burial goods and the high quality of the coffins. Some mummies are so well preserved that they are covered with fine linen and gilded masks and charms. The coffins are still colored with hieroglyphs and images from the Book of the Dead, which give rare insight into ancient funerary practices. Most striking was that here was found a shaft buried only a few centimeters below previously excavated layers, suggesting that many more secrets lie hidden in Saqqara. This brings home to all the true meanings of the great necropolis and shows how astonishingly unexplored treasures are still held by Egypt, even in its most well-studied areas. The Screaming Mummy. Among ancient Egypt's most chilling discoveries is the Screaming Mummy, officially known as Unknown Man E, unearthed in the royal cache at Deir el-Bahari. Unlike typical royal burials, this mummy's mouth is frozen in a scream, his body twisted, and he was wrapped in sheepskin, a material considered ritually impure. For years, his identity was debated, until DNA analysis revealed he was likely Prince Pentawr, the son of Pharaoh Ramses III, and a key conspirator in the infamous Harem Conspiracy, a plot to assassinate the pharaoh and seize the throne. Though the plot failed and Ramses III died, Pentawr was captured and reportedly forced to end his own life, likely by poison, rather than face public execution. The grossly negligent embalming and the infamously disgraceful burial were meant to ensure that he would never find peace in the hereafter, an ignominy said to be worse than death itself. By the ancient Egyptian belief, this would break his bond with the gods and bar him from eternal rest. The Screaming Mummy, as dramatically and tragically symbolic of royal betrayal, spiritual condemnation, and harsh repercussions of political aspiration as is possible, creates the very dreadful imprint as Prince Pentawr, even in death, would yet instill terror in every eye that gazes back at him. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into Egypt's hidden past, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more mysterious discoveries from around the world. Let us know which find shocks you the most. And don't go anywhere. Click the next video on your screen to uncover even more ancient secrets waiting to be revealed.